The House will come to order. The pledge will be led by Jane Zuffoletto, Thunder Ridge High School, Highlands Ranch, Colorado.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry, wait just a second. I stand right there.
Corey.
Mr. Kohler, please call the roll.
Representatives Arndt. Becker J. Becker K. Brown. Buck. Representative Buck. Buckner excused. Carver. Conti. Corum. Court. Danielson. Del Grosso. Dorr. Representative Dorr. Where is he? Should I just... Representative Dorr excused. Duran is here. Esgar. Everett. Fields. Foot. Garnett. Superman. I did it. Janal. Hamner. Humphrey. Joshi. Kagan. Kaiser. Klingenschmidt. Kraftarp. Landgraf. Lawrence. Lebsock. It's all right. Lead. Lontine. Lundeen. McCann. Melton. Mitch Bush. Moreno. Navarro. Yeah. Neville. Nordberg. Representative Nordberg. Pabon. Pedersen. Primavera. Priola. Rankin. Ransom. Rosenthal. Rupe. Ryden. Sane. Salazar. Sias. Singer. Representative Singer. Tate. Thurlow. Tyler. Van Winkle. Vigil. Willett. Williams. Wilson. Windholz. Winter. Young. Madam Speaker.
With 63 present, 2 excused, a quorum is present. Representative Windholz.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On this last day of our 70th General Assembly, I move the reading of the Journal of Tuesday, May 5th, 2015, to be dispensed with and that it be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
You've heard the motion that the journal be adopted as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. Ayes clearly have it. Motion passes. Announcements and introductions. Announcements and introductions. Representative Quorum.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much. I'm going to say this while everybody's not listening. Your shirts and jackets did not make it in, so when they come in, they will be in your mailbox in the House services.
Thank you. Representative Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I have a special announcement this morning. A constituent from HD2, who is also a former member, distinguished member of this body, is here, Don Armstrong, who represented District 36 from 1994 to 1998. He also served our country in the U.S. Army from 1973 to 1977. Please take a moment and let's welcome him with a round of applause.
Representative Landgraf. Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Madam. Other Speaker. Members, this is very important. Yesterday on your desk you had a document. If you still have it, you might want to get that out. So we here at the House of Representatives take hurt feelings seriously. Really, we do. If you need a hug to make things all better, please let us know. We promise not to laugh, at least not in front of you. We will dispatch a member of the Bipartisan House Hugger Committee, HHC, immediately. In lieu of any appointment power, we hereby appoint Representatives Everett, Mishbush, Rosenthal, and Sain to the HHC. In the event the HHC is preoccupied with life as we know it, we will notify the snack bar lady downstairs to provide you with some warm milk until the HHC becomes available. If you are in need of supplemental support upon written request, we will make every reasonable effort to provide you with a blankie, a binky, and/or a bottle, or we'll just send you to the Senate. In extreme circumstances, you may request, and upon a 2/3 vote of the House of Representatives, and we don't care if it is in favor or not, just so long as there are 2/3, the Speaker shall direct the HHC to kiss your owie away. So if you'd like to fill this out, you can give it to somebody who cares, or you can bring it to me. Thank you.
So read, so ruled. More announcements and introductions. Representative Ryden.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, this is a real announcement, okay? Members, how many are aware that CSG West is having their annual meeting in Vail this summer? Good. There is an information piece on your desks. Encourage all of you to go online and register for this conference. As you know, there is a limited travel budget available, and you may submit a request for travel expenses, and you need to do that in advance. So if you think you might be going, please get a form from the speaker's office and fill that out and turn that back in. And we hope to really see you all at the CSG West annual meeting. As you know, we are the host state, so we just hope everybody can be there and participate in this really great event. Thank you.
Representative Esgar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. And members, I just wanted to make an announcement that today starts National Nurses Appreciation Week. And I know many of us in here know some nurses personally. And if you don't know one personally and you ever have to run into one, thank them for the tireless jobs that they do. They work 12-hour shifts to take care of all of us at some point in our lives. So I just wanted to make that announcement and say thank you to the nurses and especially to the one close to my heart. Thank you.
Representative Esgar, thank you. My mother was a nurse, and she'll say she works 24-hour shifts, 12 with her patients, 12 with her kid. Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. It's good to know where you are.
Representative Wilson, you're lucky I was here to call on you.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Colleagues, this is your last opportunity on the Sportsman's Caucus. We're having the rendezvous the first weekend in June in conjunction with the opening of the Browns Canyon National Monument. If you would like to join us there at the Wilson's house on Friday evening and then for activities on Saturday, please let me know. If you've thrown away that reservation form or you just don't know yet, please give me your name, your phone number, and your email. We'll keep you in the loop. And that way you can make the decision. It gets closer. So if you lost the form, just write down that contact information, drop it by my desk, or if you have the form, that would be even better. Thank you.
Representative Rosenthal for what looks like a tribute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. And just remember, sir, wherever you are, you are.
Thank you, Representative Rosenthal. Very, very thoughtful.
So members, I have a very special tribute today.
Representative Rosenthal, would you like me to try to get the chamber's attention?
I would so enjoy that.
Okay.
Thank you,
Members, Representative Rosenthal is presenting a tribute in the well. Please pay attention.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, and thank you, members. Today, I have a guest from my House District 9 who was honored at the State Supreme Court, and I'd like to read this commendation tribute. The members of the Colorado House of Representatives are proud to recognize and congratulate Sal Quintana, Sal, why don't you stand, for earning recognition from the Colorado Supreme Court for his commitment to pro bono legal services. Dedicating over 50 hours to serving persons of limited means is a tremendous accomplishment worthy of the highest recognition. We thank Sal Quintana for his work on behalf of the people of Colorado and wish him continued success. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Quintana. Thank you for your service to the people of Colorado. Representative Corum for a tribute.
And a tribute to you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem.
Let's see about that first.
Good to see you here without your shock collar on.
Representative Corum, please proceed.
Thank you. Members, I would like to present a tribute to a member of House District 58, Mr. Heath Hibbard. And it says, Montrose resident Heath Hibbard has successfully finished the 26.2 miles of the most prestigious marathon race in the world, the Boston Marathon, becoming one of an elite group who has ever run the race. Even more impressive, Mr. Hibbard finished with a time of 3 hours, 1 minute, and 41 seconds, which was fast enough for first place in his age group by over 4 minutes. His age group is 61 to 64. And so, you know, but the amazing thing about me is Mr. Hibbard did not start running until he was 50 years old. And this is his third Boston Marathon. But he also, about 3 years back, I think 3 or 4 years back, had to stop running because he had a hip deteriorate. He had to have a hip replacement. So he never ran again for 2 years. And, so to do this and to win that by 4 minutes is an amazing feat for an amazing athlete. I just wonder, when a man like this, with that talent, if he'd have started running as a young man, might have been very famous. So thank you very much.
Further announcements and introductions. Representative Corr.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I want to acknowledge a group of students from Natarita Nukla Middle School to the House. They live 30 miles from the Utah border, so welcome them here. Please stand up. And we want to thank their teacher, because this is the second year that you have brought them here, I believe. The chaperone? All right. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Welcome, students, and safe travels home. Any further announcements or introductions? Seeing none. Reports of committees of reference.
The Committee on Finance, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends following Senate Bill 1 be postponed indefinitely, Senate Bill 135 be postponed indefinitely.
Conference committee reports.
First report of the First Conference Committee on House Bill 1013. This report amends the re-revised bill.
Signing of bills, resolutions, and memorials.
Speaker has signed.
The remainder of the report will be printed in the journal. Message from the Senate.
Madam Speaker, the Senate has.
The remainder of the message will be printed in the journal. Introduction of resolutions.
HJR 1027 by Representatives Buckner and Lee, also Senator Hill, concerning recognition of public school teachers in Colorado.
House Joint Resolution 1027 will lay over until later today.
Senate Joint Resolution 29 by Senator Grantham, also Representative Wilson, concerning the grand reopening celebration of the Royal Gorge Bridge and Park.
SJR 29 will be laid over until later today. Third reading, final passage of bills.
Oh. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 67.
Senate Bill 67 by Senator Cook, also Representative Joshi, concerning increase in the class of offense for certain acts of assault against persons engaged in performing their duties as emergency responders in connection with making an appropriation.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 67 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of Senate Bill 67 on third reading and final passage. Representative Joshi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, I ask for permission for a third reading amendment, and I move L007.
Representative Joshi, would you please move to grant permission, please?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to grant the permission for a third reading amendment.
That's the proper motion. Please explain, Representative Joshi.
Members, when we talked earlier on this bill, with the amendment that was introduced, on the second reading, which actually changed the punishment that we were going to do, but it didn't really fit the crime. So we actually lowered how the people who might hurt the emergency medical care providers will be prosecuted. By doing that, actually it helped to lower the fiscal note. The original fiscal note was like $4.9 million over 5 years. The new fiscal note has gone down to $1.4 million. So that was a significant change. So we had to bring this amendment, and I ask for yes vote.
The question is granting permission for a third reading amendment on Senate Bill 67. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 59 ayes, 4 noes, and 2 excused, permission is granted for a third reading amendment on Senate Bill 67. Representative Joshi, would you please renew your motion for us?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move amendment L007 and ask for yes vote.
The motion is for passage of Amendment L007 to Senate Bill 67. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote on passage of amendment to Senate Bill 67. Is this okay? Is everything okay? Close the machine. With 63 ayes, no noes, and 2 excused, L007 to Senate Bill 67 is passed. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for passage of Senate Bill 67 as amended on third reading and final passage.
The motion is for passage of Senate Bill 67 as amended. Is there discussion? Representative Foote. And Representative.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I withdraw that motion. There's another amendment.
The motion is withdrawn. Representative Foote.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for permission to offer a third reading amendment.
The motion is to offer a third reading amendment on Senate Bill 67. Please proceed, Representative Foote.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, in conjunction with working with the bill sponsor as well as the Senate sponsor, Representative Willett as well, we did a second reading amendment that changed the bill a little bit, which is why there was a change in appropriation. However, we need to do a technical third reading amendment to make sure that the new subsection that we created in the second reading amendment is actually part of the amendment clause of the final bill. So it's a technical amendment. It's L006 when it does get displayed if there's permission granted, and that's what I'll be asking for permission for.
So the question is permission to grant a third reading amendment and explained. Representative Joshi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Representative Foote. Members, this is a technical amendment. It's a friendly amendment, and I actually appreciate all the work Representative Foote and Representative Willett has put into doing this. That has helped actually overall fiscal note and other things with the bill. And the Senate sponsor is also in agreement, so I ask for yes vote.
So the question is granting permission for a third reading amendment on Senate Bill 67. Seeing no more discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 63 ayes, no nos, and 2 excused, permission is granted for a third reading amendment on Senate Bill 67. Representative Foote.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move L006.
The motion is to pass Amendment L006 to Senate Bill 67. Is there further discussion? Representative Foote.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is just what I explained. We need to put that we're doing subsection 1H of second-degree assault in the amendment clause at the beginning of the bill. So I ask for a yes vote.
Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Caller, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Rankin. Close the machine. With 63 ayes, no nos, and 2 excused, Amendment L006 is passed. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 67 as amended on third reading and final passage.
The motion is for passage of Senate Bill 67 as amended on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 58 ayes, 5 noes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 67 is passed as amended. Co-sponsors.
Let me think about it. Maybe I will. How big is it?
Close the machine. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to lay over Senate Bill 257 until the end of the May 6th calendar.
The motion is to lay over Senate Bill 257 to the end of the calendar. Seeing no objection, so ordered. Mr. Tyler, please read. Oh, dear. Thought I wasn't going to do that again. Please read the title of Senate Bill 56.
Senate Bill 56, concerning reducing the frequency of administering a statewide assessment of social studies and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Representative Tyler. Not bad.
By Senator Kerr and Representative Kraft-Tharp.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 56 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of Senate Bill 56 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 63 ayes, no nos, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 56 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 206.
Senate Bill 206 by Senators Robertson, Hodge, also Representatives Garnett and Kaiser, concerning phased conservation easement donations for conservation easements donated on or after January 1st, 2015 in connection with lowering transaction costs for agricultural producers, facilitating endangered species mitigation, and making an appropriation.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 206 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of Senate Bill 206 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 59 ayes, 4 noes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 206 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 210.
Senate Bill 210 by Senator Woods, also Representative Arndt, concerning creation of the Title Insurance Commission in connection with making appropriation.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 210 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of Senate Bill 210 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 54 ayes, 9 noes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 210 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 282.
Senate Bill 282 by Senator Scott and Johnston, also Representatives Duran and Willett, concerning the establishment of a rural jumpstart program in highly distressed counties of the state for new businesses to bring new jobs to the state in connection with making appropriation.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 282 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of Senate Bill 282 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Minority Leader, Representative Del Grosso.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, 117 days ago, or I guess it was 119, depends on what it is. Seems like it was a lifetime ago. But anyway, I sat down here on the first day of the session and I gave a speech. And in that speech, I talked about how the economy of the state of Colorado was rebounding. And we were seeing our unemployment rates going down. And a lot of people around the state were patting themselves on the back about how great the state of Colorado was doing. But I also stood here and threw up an asterisk and said, that might be true for the folks that are here on the Front Range, but we have several counties and several areas of the state that, quite frankly, are not seeing an uptick in the economy. They, quite frankly, are actually going in the opposite direction. We are seeing unemployment rates actually going up in certain areas. We are seeing the economy moving in the opposite direction. And I specifically said, we need to focus on the entire state. We can't just slap ourselves on the back and say, hey, this is great for the people in the Front Range, and ignore the rest of the state. We have a very large state. This bill applies to distressed counties that have a per capita income that is substantially below the statewide average. Domestic product and performance below the state average. Unemployment levels that are substantially above the statewide average. A net loss of people in the workforce. And it puts in averages over a 10-year period to where these counties are substantially going the wrong way. Is this a bill for certain areas of the state? Absolutely. It is for those parts of the state that are, quite frankly, hurting right now. We need to do something for those counties that are hurting, those that are not seeing the uptick in the economy that we are all enjoying up and down the Front Range. We cannot ignore those folks in rural Colorado any longer. Now, I did hear that one of the main concerns and I had the same concern as well, is when you sometimes give tax breaks to certain areas, that you are all of a sudden putting somebody at a competitive advantage over somebody else. And as a person that owns a business, I would be very angry if somebody moved into my neighborhood, my town, and set up a similar business that, quite frankly, was at a competitive advantage because they got a special tax break that I didn't get. I would be at a competitive disadvantage, and I would be very angry if I was a person that owned that business and if that happened to me. So I'm very sensitive to make sure that we are not doing that around the state as well. But this bill specifically states that these businesses that are coming in cannot be similar in operation to and does not directly compete with the core function of a business that is operating in the state. Not even just the area, but the state. So it specifically states that these businesses coming in cannot compete or be at a competitive advantage over somebody else that is here. That part right there is key for me. If that part was not in here, I could not support the bill, but it is. This is a bill that we can vote on today that has potential to help those folks in rural Colorado that are hurting. Those folks that are in our state that are hurting, that quite frankly, despite all of the great things that we are seeing in our state right now when it comes to the economy, are not feeling those same effects. That is why I will be a yes on Senate Bill 282, and I urge everyone else to be a yes as well.
Representative Quorum.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Minority Leader Del Grosso. Members, I introduced a group of students earlier from Natarita and Nukla. Look, stand up. Please stand up. 30 years ago, there would have been 100 of them. Think about it.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minority Leader Del Grosso, thank you for supporting this legislation, and Representative Willett, has been great to work with you on this legislation as well. And members, I ask for your support today. Some of you said, you know, this bill doesn't affect my area. We are not an area where we have the highest unemployment and lowest wages in the state. But I think as we have economic growth in the state of Colorado, it is so important that all four corners of the state benefit in that economic growth. We know what is good for agriculture in Colorado is good for all of Colorado. What is good for the rural areas is good for all of Colorado. And as we have had great success with workforce development, this is one more bill that is part of workforce development to enable businesses and institutions of higher ed to come together to make sure that people have access to good paying jobs. I ask you to support this legislation along with Club 20, the Pueblo Chamber of Commerce, CSU Pueblo, Colorado Community Colleges, Colorado Concern, the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce, Economic Development Council of Colorado, Associated Governments of Northwest Colorado, the Grand Junction Area Chamber of Commerce, Montrose Economic Development Council, Grand Junction Economic Partnership, the City of Grand Junction, Mesa County, Grand Valley Power, Western Colorado Business Alliance, Colorado Mesa University, the Grand Junction Daily Sentinel, the Pueblo Chieftain, the Northern Colorado Legislative Alliance, and the Montrose Daily Press. Let's make sure that every Coloradan has access to economic opportunity and economic success.
Is there further discussion? Representative Willett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just very quickly, members, I want to thank all of you. You know, there was great effort and work to help rural economic areas that are distressed so much. 1157, 1177 came out of here with good support. Unfortunately, it met a demise over in the Senate. I appreciate support on both sides of the aisle, different urban, rural members, the governor's office, leadership. That's kind of culminated in this Senate Bill 282. This is really the last shot in this session to help rural Colorado. By the way, this is not one of those bills that came out late through some rushed process. We've been working on this all session through 6 different versions and multiple players. This was a lot of effort. Personally, I want to thank all of you.
Representative Vigil.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, I do represent those counties with highest unemployment: Huerfano County, Castilla County, Conejos County, Saguache County. They have some of the highest unemployment numbers. And these counties could certainly use this help if there was an opportunity for them to get some help with their economic development. So I rise in strong support of this, and I urge you guys who don't understand or who live in very affluent areas to please consider, those counties that have been economically devastated. Their populations are dwindling, their tax base is dwindling, and opportunities are very rare. So with this bill, I think it doesn't cure everything or anything actually, but it really helps. And I urge your support in passing this bill, especially for those communities that really need the help. Thank you.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 282? Seeing none, the question is the passage of Senate Bill 282. Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 50 ayes, 13 noes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 282 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 290.
Senate Bill 290 by Senator Todd, also Representative Wilson, concerning creation of the Colorado Student Leaders Institute and in connection with making appropriation.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 290 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of Senate Bill 290 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 43 ayes, 20 noes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 290 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 288.
Senate Bill 288 by Senators Baumgartner and Hodge, also Representatives Hamner and Rankin, concerning the compensation paid to certain public officials.
Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 288 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of Senate Bill 288 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Are there enough Republicans? Okay. Close the machine. With 33 ayes, 30 noes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 288 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 283.
Senate Bill 283 by Senator Woods, also Representative Lee, concerning debt collection proceedings in connection with increasing the scope and value of assets that may be exempted, clarifying the definitions of earnings, and specifying the procedure for service of notice of exemption and pending levy and certain garnishment proceedings.
Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 283 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of Senate Bill 283 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 63 ayes, no noes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 283 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 271.
Senate Bill 271 by Senator Sonberg, also Representative Becker J, concerning the continuation of the entities charged with representing the interests of certain utility consumers and matters heard by the Public Utilities Commission.
Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 271 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of Senate Bill 271 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 41 ayes, 22 noes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 271 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 276.
Senate Bill 276 by Senators Balmer and Carroll, also Representatives Van Winkle and Lebstock, concerning the elimination of the use of automated vehicle identification systems for traffic law enforcement.
Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 276 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of Senate Bill 276 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 38 ayes, 25 noes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 276 is passed. Co-sponsors.
Probably.
Close the machine. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to proceed out of order for the consideration of Resolution SJR 24 by Representative Ransom.
The motion is to proceed out of order for Resolution SJR 24. Is there any objection? Seeing none, we will proceed out of order for consideration of SJR 24. Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I beg your pardon, Representative Ransom. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of SJR 24.
Senate Joint Resolution 24 by Senators Holbert and Heath, also Representatives Ransom and Rosenthal, commemorating the 150th anniversary of the death of President Abraham Lincoln.
Do you want to move it?
Representative Ransom.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I move Senate Joint Resolution 24 and ask that it be read at length.
Whereas Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809 in Kentucky and eventually moved with his family to Indiana and Illinois. And whereas though Abraham Lincoln only received about a year of formal education, he made extraordinary efforts to obtain knowledge throughout his life and eventually became a lawyer. And whereas Abraham Lincoln was elected in 1834 to his first of 4 terms in the Illinois State Legislature, and in 1846 to 1 term in the United States House of Representatives. And whereas in 1861, Abraham Lincoln began his first term as the first Republican and 16th President of the United States, and on April 12th of that year, the Civil War began. And whereas that same year, Colorado became a territory of the United States and sent the highest percentage of its population compared to other states to fight in the war. And whereas President Lincoln bravely led the nation through its greatest conflict, the Civil War. And whereas as the nation approached the 3rd year of the war, President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1, 1863, which declared that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states are and henceforward shall be free. And whereas on April 3, 1865, President Lincoln entered Richmond, Virginia, which he found was relatively free from the war, and he was heralded as Father Abraham by freed men and women. And whereas on April 9, 1865, Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Union General Ulysses S. Grant at the Wilmer McLean home near the Appomattox Courthouse in Appomattox, Virginia. And whereas only a few days later, on April 14th, President Lincoln went with his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, to see the play Our American Cousin at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. And whereas John Wilkes Booth, a Confederate sympathizer, learned that President Lincoln would be attending the play and hatched a plan to assassinate President Lincoln, Vice President Andrew Johnson, and Secretary of State William H. Seward. And whereas on the evening of April 14th, a conspirator of John Wilkes Booth broke into Secretary Seward's home and seriously wounded him, while another conspirator who was to attack Vice President Johnson lost his nerve. And whereas just after 10 p.m., John Wilkes Booth entered President Lincoln's private theater box and shot the president in the head with a single bullet. And whereas the mortally wounded president was taken across the street to a first-floor bedroom in William Peterson's boarding house, known today as the Peterson House. And whereas at 7:22 a.m. on April 15, 1865, President Abraham Lincoln, 56 years old, died. And whereas upon his death, Secretary of War Edwin M. Stanton remarked, quote, "Now he belongs to the ages." And whereas his death was a blow and a shock to the nation, who had only just begun to feel relief at the end of the Civil War. And whereas the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. was completed in 1922 and built with materials from across the country, including Yule marble from Colorado, to show how a nation torn apart by war can come together. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate of the 70th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the House of Representatives concurring herein, that the General Assembly pauses on April 15, 2015 to acknowledge the 150th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's death, pays its respect to a man from the West who led the nation through its greatest conflict, and recognizes that his life, legacy, and impression are inherent in the Capitol complex design, with Lincoln Street to our west, Grant Street to our east, and Sherman Street intersecting the complex. Be it further resolved that copies of this joint resolution be sent to President Barack Obama, the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum in Springfield, Illinois, the Peterson House in Washington, D.C., and each member of Colorado's congressional delegation.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Please be seated. We have all learned so much about Lincoln over the years. I'm sure all of us learned about him in grade school and high school. And I'm just going to read a couple of the quotes that are less well known that he has said. I think he's said a lot of things that we all have memorized. But here's one that he said in 1861 that shows he knew what he was doing as president. "I have never had a feeling politically that did not spring from the sentiments embodied in the Declaration of Independence. Now, my friends, can this country be saved upon that basis? If it can, I will consider myself one of the happiest men in the world if I can help to save it. If it can't be saved upon that principle, it will be truly awful. But if this country cannot be saved without giving up that principle, I was about to say I would rather be assassinated on this spot than to surrender it." Obviously that's a tough one to hear, but something he said later that I think we can all take to heart here is, whatever you are, be a good one.
Good job.
Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. And if you might indulge me, I'm going to read the Gettysburg Address. As you know, this was one of the bloodiest battles of our Civil War, and it greatly affected him going there, seeing the carnage and the remains of so many, some of what happened on that battle, from that battle. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who gave their lives that the nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus so far nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from those honored dead we can take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Thank you, members. This is my favorite quote from him, and I think if you look around at our country today, perhaps even in this chamber, we still have divisions. Some people even call divisions. and I've done that for the first time in 3 years. But I think these words still ring to us today, that we have to be careful with our words and be careful with our actions, be careful with the laws that we pass, that we bring people together, and that we don't divide our country further. Because we still have divisions, even from the time of the Declaration of Independence and from the beginning of the Constitution. And thank you to President Lincoln for trying to keep this country together, and for his words that still ring true today. Thank you, members.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Joint Resolution 24? Seeing none, question before us is the passage of Senate Joint Resolution 24. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Senate Joint Resolution 24 passes. Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move that we add the morning roll call as co-sponsors.
Seeing no objection, the current roll call will be added as co-sponsors to Senate Joint Resolution 24. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move to suspend the rules for the immediate consideration of SJR 29 by Representative Wilson.
Seeing no objection, the rules will be immediately suspended. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Joint Resolution 29.
SJR 29 by Senator Grantham, also Representative Wilson, concerning the grand reopening celebration of the Royal Gorge Bridge and Park.
Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move SJR.
Renowned the world over. And whereas construction on the world's highest suspension bridge at that time began June 5th, 1929, and was completed in November 1929 with no serious injury or death of workers. And whereas upon viewing the bridge from his special campaign train, President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, described it as one of the best loved scenic wonders of America. And whereas since its opening, the Royal Gorge Bridge and Park has attracted more than 25 million visitors from the four corners of the globe through its gates. And whereas over the years, the park has had a positive economic impact on Canyon City and its environs through local employment and the yearly influx of visitors to the area. And whereas on June 11, 2013, a wildfire roared through the park, destroying 90% of the park on both sides of the Royal Gorge, taking 48 out of 52 structures and attractions. And whereas since that horrific day when flames licked at the boards of the iconic bridge but did not destroy it, the management, employees, and contractors have worked tirelessly to restore and rebuild the renowned attraction. And whereas this demonstration of the determination and can-do spirit associated with the good people of Colorado and the Canyon City area is worthy of celebration. And whereas the beauty and grandeur of the Royal Gorge Bridge and the surrounding park have captivated millions of visitors over the years. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate of the 70th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the House of Representatives concurring herein, that we, the members of the Colorado General Assembly, recognize the Royal Gorge Bridge and Park on its 86th year of existence and the happy occasion of its grand reopening celebration to be held from May 8th to May 10th, 2015. Be it further resolved that copies of this joint resolution be sent to Mike Bandera, General Manager of the Royal Gorge Bridge and Park, Governor John Hickenlooper, Mayor of Canyon City Tony Greer, and the Canyon City Council.
Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Please be seated, colleagues. This resolution, I think, really brings a spotlight on the impact of wildfires and floods and natural disasters on the state of Colorado. And I think oftentimes we take those rather lightly if we're not involved in the middle of them. I can recall when I was driving on Highway 50 when the wildfire was burning that actually was threatening the Royal Gorge. I thought, that fire's not that big. I was looking off to the south and there wasn't that much smoke and weren't that many flames and didn't think that it was that big of an issue. But a wildfire destroys, and it does it quickly. And it came very close to destroying one of Colorado's icons. The boards literally were charred on the bridge itself before the flames were finally beat back. And most of the businesses and attractions were destroyed there at the Royal Gorge Park. So the fiscal impact, as we look at wildfires as well as floods on communities, again, we oftentimes forget that. After the floods have receded and the wildfires have been extinguished, then it kind of leaves our memory and we go on about our business. But there's long-term impact on these natural disasters that strike communities, and that was an impact that happened to be in Canyon City. One of its major attractions was destroyed, and I've got to tell you folks, Fremont County and Canyon City are not the most affluent areas in Colorado, and this was a huge, huge impact on that community as far as the number of jobs that were lost during that period of time. The good news is we're back open for business, and not only is this resolution to point out the near disaster that we had on one of our Colorado icons, but it's also an invitation to each and every one of you to be there at the grand opening, because the bad news is most of the businesses and attractions were destroyed. The good news is most of them are rebuilt and they're brand new and ready to go once again. So it's a great opportunity. It's a rebirth, if you will, of that icon. And as a young child, I can always remember that I was so fascinated by the Royal Gorge Bridge. And as I got older, I thought, it didn't really go anywhere as far as when you got there, you went over on the other side. And then I got old enough to appreciate the engineering marvel that was actually done. It was amazing. And that was another one of those things that we got credit in America and took pride in the fact that we can do this just because we can. And I think that's the challenge that we have in this body, is that we can do something just because we can. And at the time, it may not feel like it leads anywhere. I don't know about you, but oftentimes some of these laws we pass, I feel like may not lead anywhere. But, you know, we can do it, and eventually it becomes a bigger piece of that big puzzle. And the Royal Gorge is definitely a piece of the Colorado puzzle. And I urge an aye vote on this resolution.
Representative Priola.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I've never actually been over the bill or the Royal Gorge Bridge, but I've been under it. I rafted through there in the late 80s with my uncle, and it's another thing you can do in the area is go rafting on the Arkansas River. It's a beautiful river, and the best time to do it's late May, June, when the water's high. I'm actually planning on heading to southern Colorado with my family this summer, hopefully get down to Durango, and we're going to put the Royal Gorge Bridge and Park on our list to try to swing by as well. So thanks for bringing this resolution.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Joint Resolution 29? Seeing none and hearing no objection to a voice vote, the question before the House is the passage of Senate Joint Resolution 29. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Senate Joint Resolution 29 is passed. Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. And also, as just a side announcement, if you happen to be coming to the rendezvous, you can either go that direction and stop by the Royal Gorge or stop by that way on your way back home. So, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, I move that we add the current roll call as sponsors, co-sponsors.
Seeing no objection, the current roll call will be added as co-sponsors to Senate Joint Resolution 29. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move to proceed out of order for consideration of adherence concerning, excuse me, let me say that again. Oh, it's late in the session. I move to proceed out of order for the Conference Committee report on House Bill 1013 by Representative Quorum.
Seeing no objection, we move. Yep. Mr. Kohler, please read the Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1013.
House Bill 1013 by Representative Quorum, also Senator Sonnenberg and Hodge, concerning the implementation recommendation number 1 set forth in the study of the South Platte River alluvial aquifer prepared by the Colorado Water Institute pursuant to House Bill 1278.
Representative Quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move the first report of the first conference committee on House Bill 1013.
That motion is proper. Please proceed, Representative Quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. When we sent the bill over to the Senate in great shape, they stripped out Section 2 In the conference committee, Section 2 was put back in a little bit different, that rather than to the state engineer, it goes to the division engineer. And there was also an appropriation of 0.5 FTE for $41,959. And ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote.
Representatives McCann and Singh. Representatives McCann and Singh excused. With 60, close the machine. With 61 ayes, no noes, and 4 excused, the first report of the First Conference Committee for House Bill 1013 is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the repassage of House Bill 1013 as amended.
The motion is for repassage of House Bill 1013 as amended. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representatives McCann and Singh are fined $5 each. That'll be dessert for lunch today for the staff. Representatives Court and Mitch Bush. Close the machine with 63 ayes, no noes, and 2 excused. House Bill 1013 is repassed as amended. We're going to do, yeah, which one is it? Oh, co-sponsors on House Bill 1013.
Madam Speaker, it's just announcements and introductions next.
Close the machine. Madam Majority Leader. Are we ready to go here?
Announcements.
Oh, announcements and introductions. Representative Casey Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Conference Committee of Senate Bill 119 will reconvene at 11:30 in the Senate floor hall. The room has not yet been determined.
Good luck.
That's John Becker, Casey Becker, Steve Lebsock, Baumgardner, Sonnenberg, and Senator Matt Jones.
Representative Court.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm going to remind you one last time about the red sheet about cleaning up. You don't have to take all your stuff out of your drawer, but they will be cleaning. So you'll probably want to take personal things if you want to leave, like pens and pencils and things. But please clean up, and especially from your side little box and under the desk. So please clean things up. Remember, if you want the files in your file cabinet, you can have the contents, but you have to leave the brown folders. Those are reused every year. So please help our staff keep the place neat for next year. Thank you.
Representative Kagan.
Thank you, members of the House Judiciary Committee. Unfortunately, we have had a couple of bills that have been referred to us and require a hearing under the Gavel Amendment. So we will be meeting this afternoon to consider House Bill 1063 from Representative Salazar concerning mandatory expressions of righteous indignation at every opportunity from we have House Bill 1029 from Representative Lee concerning mandatory restorative justice conferences between Colorado mountain lions and Western Slope sheep. We have House Bill 1229 from Representative Willett concerning needle threading in criminal law provisions in Colorado Code. We have House Bill 1283 from Representative Carver concerning the explication of intersecting and conflicting provisions of law in the Tiddlywink Regulation Act. We will be hearing Senate Bill 235 from Representative Foote concerning the harmonization of Colorado criminal law with what actually happens in court. We will be hearing from Representative Lawrence, Senate Bill 123 concerning crime victims' rights to increase petty offenses upon request into Class 1 felonies. We will be hearing from Representative Lundeen concerning an impossible requirement that attorneys at law start saying what they actually mean. Representative Court will be presenting House Bill 83 concerning removing the entire Department of Corrections budget from the restrictions of Tabor. Representative Peterson will be bringing us a bill concerning the bringing of real-life experience into Colorado's criminal law. And Representative Buckner will be presenting House Bill 1002 concerning requiring all those who are feeling unwell to please get well soon and know that we all wish you a speedy recovery.
Well, Representative Court, do you want to try to follow that? May we have your attention for an important announcement? Please.
Yeah, I will. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Okay, a clarification to my announcement about cleaning things out. If you leave anything personal, you will not have access to it after May 11th because we're going to have the skylight above us all opened up. So there's going to be a ton of work going on in here, so you won't have access to the chamber. So it really is important if there's anything you want from the chamber to take it with you today or tomorrow at the latest and get it out of here. And then the further thing that I want to
Members, please, may we have your attention at the well for just a couple minutes more, please.
Thank you. We'd like all our staff to come down to the well. Every year, we thank sergeants, we thank our entire staff. So let's let them all gather down here because it is so, so important. And House Services Committee, do you want to come join me? House Services Committee, Representatives Quorum and Moreno, and who else do we have? come down to the House Services Committee. Is the committee, that's why you see me down here with all this housekeeping stuff. The House Services Committee is the committee that works with our fabulous chief of staff and the rest of our staff to keep this place running. And these guys, the people over in that room who make sure that all of our work gets properly recorded, our assignable clerks who put all the files in, our sergeants who make sure that we're safe, the people upstairs who write our letters and handle our mail. If we didn't have these people here, we would not function. So here, come on, all of you up here, come on, be acknowledged. All of you up here. If we didn't have these people, we would not function. So I want a huge round of applause. Come over here, come over here. Come here. Danny? Yeah. Ward? Yeah, let's have balanced picture. There. All right. All right, these are the people who keep us functioning. All right, are we all here? All right, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you all very much. And you know what? If you haven't each row thanked your assignable clerk, it's time to do that now as well.
Are there further announcements and introductions? Seeing none, members, we will have some more work to do this afternoon when the Senate finishes their work. And I would expect that at least we'll be able to recess for a couple hours if you want to have a nice leisurely lunch or something, don't you think, Madam Majority Leader? So we'll go into recess until later today. Keep close by after lunch, and we'll come in and hopefully not have too much left to do. So, Mr. Minority Leader, did you have anything?
No, I just said so we're going to go at least till 1?
At least, yeah, we'll go at least till 1, maybe 1:30 at this point. So is there a motion to recess?
Do it. Do it.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the House stand in recess. I'm only going to do it for a couple of minutes. I move the House stand in recess until 11 o'clock.
The motion is to stand in recess until later on. Is that what the motion was? I couldn't hear it. Yeah. See, no objection, so ordered.